Hey everyone, this is the dorm guy, and there's a monsoon outside my dorm. And you're watching Dorm Discussions. So with this monsoon outside and getting me completely drenched of all my clothes, I figured it'd be a good time for me to sit down and do my first discussion, which is, of course, on Iron Man 3. So, without further ado, let's begin. People either hate this movie or they love it. So what does that mean for the movie in general? Iron Man 3 was the much anticipated follow-up to last summer's blockbuster The Avengers, and it's been in theaters for over a month now, so I think it's safe to say that a discussion is fair game. This will be a spoiler-filled discussion, so if you haven't seen Iron Man 3 yet, just go see it, like, right now. Maybe not right now because there's a monsoon outside, but you know. Spoiler talk is in session. You have been warned. So the gripes that I hear most about from many have to deal with the portrayal of the Mandarin. We all found out that Ben Kingsley was just some drunk actor and that Guy Pearce's Aldrich Killian was actually the Mandarin. Now, as a hardcore comic book fan, I can understand why this pissed off a lot of the fans. Taking an iconic comic figure and making him, one, a drunk and bumbling actor, and two, a slimeball rich white guy was kind of a slap to the face. However, what we comic book fans must realize is that this is a movie. Movie adaptations are always going to mess with the lore that we know and love, not to spite us, but to create a well-rounded piece of cinema. The Harry Potter movies were nowhere near as well done as the books, and there were a lot of changes, but they were still great pieces of cinema that I enjoy watching. For Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, nowhere near what he was in the comics. He took drugs called Venom and was ginormous. What was he in the movie? He was a British guy on anesthesia, or something like that. But at this point, if we want to see an accurate portrayal of the Mandarin, we have to revert to the 90s Iron Man animated series. It's a bummer, but this is the world we live in. Marvel Studios wanted to cut out the slightly racist comic book connotation that came with the Mandarin. In the comics, he was a Chinese guy with ridiculous Fu Manchu, wore 10 magical rings, and was the representation of America versus communism. Nowadays, that portrayal might get on some people's nerves. Making the Mandarin a sly, sleazy, rich white businessman made him more hateable. Just his line, saying that Pepper was his trophy, made me want to punch him in the face because I respect women. Viewing Iron Man 3 as a movie, I thought it was brilliant. As Ben Kingsley would say, you'll never see that coming. It was a plot twist that I found innovative and quite clever. Going into this movie, I had no idea that Killian was going to be the true villain. I had no idea that Pepper was going to turn into a fiery super badass. And I had no idea that Stark was going to retire as Iron Man, which we all know is a load of crap. As a fan of Marvel's movies, this was a great addition that put Tony Stark in a place where we wanted to see him, as Iron Man, not the self-destructive jerk we got in Iron Man 2. Now, the movie wasn't perfect. I felt like they dropped the ball on the PTSD and just resolved it in, 10 seconds? They also focused a bit too much on the comedy, which wasn't horrible comedy. I laughed my ass off, but it did take away from the presence of danger that we all needed to feel. If a firewoman started chasing me down, the last thing I would say would be a comedic one-liner. But then, I'm not Tony Stark. I wish so close. And I'm also not an expert on PTSD, so that may have been accurate, but I kind of felt that it was a little rushed, the way they summed that up with just, hey, build something. Okay, I'm done. Now, I do sympathize with my fellow comic book fans on why some dislike this movie. But there is a fine line between comic books and movies. No, I'm not saying that I want Marvel Studios to tamper with the lore we love. But they made a decision in Iron Man 3 in order to fuel the story rather than to satisfy the hardcore fans. The movie industry has to appeal to everyone, not just the comic book fans. the vast majority of people going to see this movie are going to be parents and their kids. So the movie has to appeal to the everyday man as well. If I took my parents to go see this, they're not going to care that the Mandarin is a white guy. My then girlfriend said when we saw it that she thought it was a clever plot twist, and that she had no idea that the Mandarin was supposed to be Chinese. However, this is just my personal opinion. Again, I'll sum it up as fine line, movie, comic book. Good for the cinema, maybe not so good for the fans, but we have to get over that. If you have any objections or you want to voice your own opinions, post in the comments. And if you want more videos, let me know. Follow me on Twitter at the link below. And I'll catch you later. You stay sharp out there.